Festival Diaries, day 20. Had to think about that for a moment. I'm in Island Bay and getting on the ferry tomorrow to head down to NZ Spirit South, which I'm so looking forward to. Such a big production to bring a festival to a new island, a new site for the very first time. Big capital investment as well, and so just so ready to bring the energy to that festival to support the kaupapa, because I know that there's so much awesomeness that happens at Resolution and NZ Spirit. And there's, oh my God, it's a really interesting time to be in the conscious community right now, because there is a lot of shit going down in terms of people talking shit about each other, and, you know, concerns about sexual predators or cults or boundaries being transgressed and all of this stuff. And it feels like a lot of energy, like a lot of my energy over the last 6 months, 8 months has been eaten up by multitudes of conversations around all of this stuff. So starting to feel like a little bit of a distraction in some ways from the amazing work that happens in these communities. And at the same time, I think it's really needed that we are having these conversations, because shit has gone down. And, you know, the conscious community, in some ways, we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. There's a much bigger relational piece going on, particularly when there's work around sexuality. And anytime you start working with sexuality, there's, you know, it's challenging work to do and to hold and to receive. So all of this is swirling for me right now. So much of this is swirling for me right now, and I know I'm going to be writing about it and doing some videos on it in the next little while. When I teach the bodies of work that I teach, in particular the direct realization trainings like the one in Christchurch in April, one of the key teachings is own your reactivity. And this is paired with me holding the space, and the assistants who work with me, that we hold the space with so much love, so that the people coming in, the students, the participants coming in, they are seen, they are held, they are heard, and they are deeply cared for, even as they own their own reactivity. So what that means on a practical level is, when people come in, sometimes they'll get triggered by me as a teacher, and when that happens, the invitation is for them to own that reactivity. And also I get self-reflective around if I've done anything that's out of integrity, and I also check in with my assistants who I debrief with after every single session to make sure that I'm covering off on any of my own blind spots. And at the same time, I'm really deeply seeing, holding, listening to, responding to, caring for the student. And this is a highly nuanced way to work, and it's very relational, right? And this is as we're learning all of the different practices, the different Uchara practices or ancestral karma relation, the ancestral karma prostrations practice, various meditation practices, pranayama practice, chanting practices, etc., and the view teachings. We're also working on the relational level, on the shit that comes up in relationship, because from my perspective, that's where the gold really lies, and that's where our karmic patterns arise. And if we want to dissolve our karmic patterns, and we want to have a different relationship to reality, we have to work on that level. And there is immense freedom and power that can be realized by owning your own reactivity. And what that means is owning whatever comes up inside of you. So if I'm interacting with someone, a peer or whatever, and I start to feel rage, I don't blame them for the fact that I'm feeling the rage. I'll own the rage and I'll work with the rage. However, I will still also respond, you know, like if that person has, say, eaten all my chocolate in the fridge, right? There's two things. One, I might feel the rage, mine to own, mine to work with, and I don't vent it on them at all. But the fact that they ate all my chocolate, that's a transgression of a boundary. So I still have to respond to that in a skillful way. So there's two parts to the work: owning my reactivity, but also skillfully responding to what's happening externally. And one of the things I'm really curious about that's happening right now within the conscious community here in New Zealand is that there's a lot of attacking, there's a lot of blaming, there's a lot of venting, and I'm like, I think there's some unprocessed shit being flung left, right, and center, which doesn't mean that there are not also boundaries potentially being transgressed or things that needed to be responded to. Nuances. Fuck, I feel like I keep coming back to the same thing, that it's not this either or, it's both and this is so much the space that I work from. And humans sometimes like to deal with black and whites. They sometimes just want to know that it's this or it's that. And it's like it takes a certain kind of willingness, curiosity, compassion, an ability to be in the complexity, an ability to be in the uncertainty, an ability to be in the unknown to navigate this kind of territory. But you know what? This is what we're being called into. This is what we are being asked to do, is to stop hating on each other, to stop vilifying each other, stop rejecting each other, stop ostracizing each other, stop gossiping about each other, stop trying to take each other down. Fuck that shit. And instead, orientate to curiosity, to openness, to compassion, to owning one's own shit whilst being very clear and working with boundaries and responding as necessarily, working in the uncertainty and the complexity and the nuances of it, and staying in the heart, staying in love with each other, you know. These are the things I'm pondering right now. I feel like I'm going to have more to say on this. Tomorrow I'm jumping on the ferry to head to the South Island, really looking forward to that. And then, like I said, heading down to NZ Spirit South Island. Still tickets available, really excited to come. The weather's looking pretty good, so if you've been considering, if you're on the fence, been hearing shit about the festivals, what I would say is come find out for yourself. Come to the festival, find out for yourself what it's all about, see with your own eyes, feel with your own heart, feel with your own belly. Alrighty, that's all I got. That's all I got.